Love-inspired suspense and HarlequinAudio present Amish Hideout by Maggie K. Black, narrated by Virtual Voice. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. Also he hath set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. Ecclesiastes 3:11, 1. Time was running out for Celeste Alexander. Her sneakered feet tapped on the floor beneath the desk. Her fingers flew over the keyboard so quickly it seemed more like a rapid dance than typing, knowing each keystroke could be her last before US Marshal Jonathan Mast arrived to escort her to her new life, in the Witness Protection program. The early morning sky lay dark over wintry Pennsylvania farmland outside the safe house window. She knew she should sleep. After all, she had no idea how long the journey ahead would be until she finally reached the small apartment in Pittsburgh that would be her new home for the months until she testified at Dexter Tomes's trial. It had been almost 2 weeks since an evil but genius computer hacker, who went by the online handle Poindexter, had stolen tens of millions of dollars out of the bank accounts of thousands of ordinary Americans in one of the largest bank heists in history, without even leaving his chair. But she'd found him, and now he sat in a jail cell, thanks to a single curious thread that Celeste had started following online. When she'd gathered all the evidence she could, she'd tipped off the feds, and Dexter had been arrested. News had quickly spread through the online community that a self-employed computer programmer, a blonde 26-year-old woman no less, had uncovered the true identity of the criminal the feds' best minds hadn't been able to find. But the stolen money still hadn't been recovered. The thought of letting a single one of those people wake up one more day with an empty bank account was unthinkable. Not while there was something she could do about it. She frowned. The battery was down to less than 10%, and she'd forgotten the charging cable in the room upstairs where she'd slept last night. "You gave her a laptop?" The voice of US Marshal Stacy Preston came sharply from somewhere behind her. "Please tell me you didn't let her go online. The last thing we need is another misguided Poindexter fan trying to come after her and keep her from testive. Really, you think I joined the service yesterday?" US Marshal Carl Adams shot back even before Stacy had finished her sentence. From what Celeste had seen, those two didn't talk so much as volley sentences back and forth like some kind of verbal tennis match. Of course not. She had a basic tablet with the internet capability disabled, and after scanning it for bugs, I let her borrow a keyboard. "And you didn't think to check with me?" "You were asleep," Carl said. "Do you check every decision you make with me while you're the one on lookout? It's got zero internet capability. It's not like I gave her a cell phone." Celeste gritted her teeth, blocked out the verbal sparring of the two US Marshals in the room behind her, and their sporadic walkie-talkie exchanges with the other Marshals positioned around the remote property, and focused her eyes on the text streaming down the screen. Dexter might be in jail, but this would never truly be over, not until the stolen money was found. She breathed the prayer and kept typing, ignoring the red low-battery warning. 3 days ago, she'd been seconds away from alerting the feds of her crazy suspicion that the unemployed college dropout she'd been digging into online was in fact Poindexter himself, when she'd felt what she thought was God prompting her to first download a complete backup copy of every line of code of his she could see. It had been the right move. By the time the feds broke down his door, Dexter's machines had been wiped clean. But if the feds had found anything in the data she'd recovered, she hadn't heard. Already she could see patterns in the data, though. Many sequences were 8 or 9 numbers long. Maybe phone numbers and social security numbers. If almost 15 years of computer programming had taught her anything, it was that nothing was ever truly random, no matter how it seemed. In the same way, there was always method and order in what God called her to do. At least that was how she chose to see it, and that was the hope she'd clung to when her apartment went up in a ball of flames. She'd had no idea just how high a price she'd end up paying when Dexter had shot her a single flippant and cocky message on an online forum about Poindexter's crime. She'd almost ignored it. The online world was a minefield filled with the kind of rude men who seemed to like insulting women for kicks. but something...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?